Namaskaram. Welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer, and today I have with me Rajya Sabha member Dr. Subramanian Swamy. He was also a former Union Minister for Law, Commerce and Justice. And we're going to talk about a couple of issues, a couple of ongoing events about temples. The first one is the most important one, in my opinion, because it is something that happened today. To understand the latest about it, let us join and welcome Dr. Subramanian Swamy. Dr. Swamy, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel, sir. Dr. Swamy, today there was a ruling in the Andhra Pradesh High Court about the case where you are fighting on behalf of the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, also known as TTD, against a newspaper, Andhra Jyoti. Sir, for our viewers' knowledge, can you please explain what happened and how this case happened to be filed? And today there was a ruling and a little bit more on that, sir. Please take it away. You're muted, sir. You're fine. You're fine.
Okay. Sometime in December, or rather November, when the elections took place, 2019.
Yes.
The Jagan Reddy, the son of YSR Reddy, who was previously the chief minister, he came with a landslide victory in the newly formed or the residual Andhra Pradesh. And the man who really got a drubbing was Chandrababu Naidu, who ruled the roost for quite a long time earlier. And Chandrababu Naidu had left the NDA before the elections and then gone and fallen at the feet of Sonia Gandhi, literally, and made an alliance with her. But after the results came out, he decided to switch gears. And he began, putting on the makeup of Hindutva and went after Jagan, saying that he's going to Christianize the whole state. And it began with the Tirupati, which is a highly revered temple. And he said that the TTD, that is the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam Board, they announced a new chairman. His name was Subba Reddy, and first campaign was that he's a Christian and his wife is a Christian missionary, and that was ridiculous because he was a devout Hindu who knew the Shastras very well, and he and his wife was even more religious, typical South Indian woman, religious woman. So with that, he followed it up through his newspaper, which he controls indirectly, and that is the Andhra Jyoti, which carried a front page story with a big follow-up in the inside pages that the TTD, that Devasthanam board, TTDB, that board, it had displayed in its website, latest website, the first website after Subba Reddy took over, a picture of Jesus Christ, which I think we in Tamil call it, or Telugu also call it as Yesu Das or Yesu or something. Not Das, Yesu. So, and it came in Telugu, and it came on the front page of Andhra Jyoti. And he did not take even the basic courtesy of phoning up the Subba Reddy and saying, we have information that you have put up the picture of Jesus Christ in your website, and is that true or not? The fact of the matter is that there was no such picture in the website. That is the finding of the investigation. I'll come to that in a minute. And there was a tremendous upheaval amongst the Hindus. So Jagan Reddy, who knew me, and he knew that his father knew me very well. He sent me a message, said, "Please save us." In a sense, not in those words, but this is getting out of control. Can you do something? So therefore, I first of all, through Govind Hari and people like that who were in our VHS, I tried to spread the word that without an inquiry we can't come to any conclusion. But very soon I found that it was totally fabricated. So I did two things. The Subba Reddy, the TTD chairman, wanted a defamation suit filed, and that suit he wanted to demand a payment of 100 crore rupees. Now I told him, if you put that such a high figure, then you have to pay stamp worth 10%, 1%, which means what 1% means 1 crore.
Yeah.
So 1 crore in stamp duty he paid, and so we filed a defamation suit, and that's a very slow process. In the meantime, I decided that we need some quick action to discourage these people. So I filed a hate speech petition, and which means the IPC 153, 153A, 295, 295A, 500. A whole lot of sections of the criminal of the Indian Penal Code, and filed it naming the editors and the journalists of Andhra Jyoti as having committed an act which has incited the people, which obviously would incite the people if you say Jesus Christ is there in Tirupati website. So I put it on those sections of the Indian Penal Code, and then I went to High Court, and in High Court I said I would like a court monitoring of the investigation, because on that basis the TTD did file in the police station. The police station did register a case, but it did no investigation. And so then the corona came, and I couldn't move, nobody else could move. But by the time I moved, 1.5 years had taken place and no investigation, just a complaint of TTD in the police station. That's all there was. So I went to the High Court, and I filed a petition saying that they need to do court monitoring of this matter, because there has been no action. And the CRPC itself says that these these special sections, etc., if you have a criminal case filed, then it should be done as fast as possible. And so I said that the IPC itself and the CRPC itself requires speedy investigation. Supreme Court has several judgments saying that speedy investigation is very necessary in sensitive crimes and so using that, I said my petition may be heard, and then the court may then pronounce whether the court needs to monitor how the investigation is going on. In the beginning, the court was reluctant, and but then when they heard my arguments, they came around, and then they issued notice. Once they issued notice and admitted my petition, the DGP was summoned, and the DGP was asked to file a report. And the DGP's report came today, and he had to answer, number one, what steps you have taken, number two, what conclusions you have reached, and number 3, have you taken any steps to conclude the matter speedily. So today, the victory was that whatever I had asked should be done for the investigation was done. For example, they used computer techniques and tried to find out whether this photograph was Jesus Christ or somebody else's. And lo and behold, after investigating the TTD archives, they couldn't find any place where Jesus Christ was there. So it was a lie to say that their website had Jesus Christ photo. So the question of was there a photo, was it Jesus Christ and all that was not necessary. They found that it was a total lie that the TTD website had Jesus Christ photograph. Then the question became, what are you going to do? So today the victory was that the court was informed that we have acted on the basis of the FIR, and we have come to the conclusion in our investigation that there was never a picture of Jesus Christ in the TTD website, and that we have listed these are the sections, and these people were summoned to the police station for inquiry, and we are now framing charges against the key people of the newspaper. So this was one aspect, which means now the trial will take place, and once the police has said itself that we have done forensic analysis and come to conclusion that there is no picture of Jesus Christ in any of the website on any date of the website. Therefore, these people have to have made it up, and it was a dangerous thing to have done. It had incited the people, and so, in my opinion, now the question of my prosecuting them or asking the court to direct a speedy investigation, the police are doing the necessary investigation, now prosecution, because now they have framed the charges, so there'll be a trial, and in the trial these people will have to take bail or they'll be sent to jail, and then they'll be accused and ultimately found guilty, and then the punishments are quite severe. And so therefore this is one aspect. The second aspect is the defamation suit. That defamation suit, the people, after seeing my success in this, they all asked me, you please take it up. Now, you know that I'm not a member of the Bar Association, because I want to be an economist. I don't want to be a lawyer, but I know law. And so I've been successful in numerous cases. I think maybe over 50 cases I have filed in my career, and all of them I have won. So therefore, there's a feeling of nobody believes me that I'm not a lawyer. Even if I say I'm not a lawyer there. And of course, I don't take any fees. I don't even take 1 rupee fees. Even travel, everything, it's my money. Now, in view of this kind of reputation, they all went after me. And on defamation cases, Jayalalitha made me famous. She had filed in her lifetime as chief minister 125 defamation cases. One time she filed 100 of them together, and I won all of them. And so you can imagine, Jed Malani filed 4 defamation cases against me, and he lost all. And finally, in the 4th one, when he's losing, he came with folded hands and said, I don't want to fight with you. I want to be your friend. So I said, go and tell the court, which he did. And he withdrew his defamation, the 4th defamation case, after he had, in fact, de facto lost it. So there are, defamation cases and defamation cases people have filed. I won every one of them. And some of them had to apologize. For instance, the congressman Sanjay Jha, he had to write an apology letter. Now the latest victim of mine is Bagga, the BJP. He's a BJP member. God knows he was also a candidate. And now we find he has been to jail many times on petty theft, and he has failed in his 12th class exam. I mean, all kinds of things are tumbling out. And that he went to Taiwan and claims he got a diploma even though he has not passed the 12th class. So uh, now I am concentrating, and there 100 crores is what we have asked. Now I don't know what the newspaper is going to do. Maybe they'll hand over the newspaper to the TTD and say, we are bankrupt and this is all we have. We take this. I don't know. Or apology the TTD is not in a mood to accept. And indeed, if Chandrababu can afford 100 crores, that's no problem. So 100 crores come, I will give you something for running your program also out of that.
Thank you,
So
sir.
this is the position. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Yes. The first question is, I'm seeing a lot of comments, and viewers understand one thing. This is a limited case here on a specific thing that appeared in the newspaper. And that is what Dr. Swamy is fighting on behalf of the Telangana Tirupati Devasthanam. As an individual, he has a right to fight the case for any cause that he sees fit. So you should not try to extend this and say somebody else is this, something else, there is a motive. All that doesn't matter. Here, you have to understand that Dr. Swamy is spending his time and his dime flying, making sure the case is done, and don't keep going back to other things. Did Andhra Jyoti lie or not? That is a question. And that is where this case is headed. Please don't keep flooding our comment box with nonsense. Understand that passions are running high. That doesn't matter. Because the most important thing, like I said, it's a limited point. Did Andhra Jyoti commit of a crime or not? This is I don't know whether it's going to be a civil case or a criminal case. Dr. Swamy, what type of a case are you thinking?
No, as far as the police case is concerned of hate speech, and those those sections which I quoted, that's a criminal case. It means if I add them up for all of them consecutively in punishment, it will be about 50 years. They'll have to go to jail. And of course, there could be a fine also. The other one is a civil case in the sense that the person will not go to jail, but he will have to pay a fine, and that's 100 crore rupees. Whether Andhra Jyoti can afford 100 crores or not, I don't know. And that's also now, because of this criminal case, it's become an open shut case.
Yes.
Because in a defamation case, you don't have to prove something. You have to show that you had a preponderance number of facts to show that any reasonable person can conclude that. So therefore, that I easily got it now, because in fact I can prove that this whole thing was a lie, and this is a malicious, deliberate lie, for which they have to pay 100 crores.
And good luck to you, Dr. Swamy. And as always, I know God's on your side, and you're going to win this one also. There's absolutely no doubt about it. It's a black and white, open and shut case. Dr. Swamy, I want to draw your attention to another case that you filed, I think, in the Supreme Court, if I'm not wrong, about the case of the Archakas in Tamil Nadu temples being dismissed over a telephone. And we had a discussion on this one. You said, I need proof. And I think some people got together, got affidavits. And I think you can kind of talk to us a little bit more about where things are headed on that case, sir.
Sure. You see, in our constitution, on religion, there are two articles which are called fundamental rights. One is the article of the freedom of religion, the freedom to worship as you please, but subject to reasonable restrictions. You can't say that Kali Ma asked my son's head So I cut it and gave it as sacrifice. No, that won't be acceptable. Those are reasonable restrictions. You can't chop your son's head off to please Kali Mata. Okay, so there is one. Second is, if you are a part of a denomination, say the Iyengars or the Ayers, they've got together, they've built up, then you can't take away their property. Third thing, which has come out very explicitly in what is now being regarded as a path-breaking judgment, my Supreme Court SLP, special leave petition, which I filed at the behest of Sri Swamiji Dayanand Saraswati.
Right.
And Swami Dayanand Saraswati told me to go and file the case, and I told him I will lose. He said, how can you say now? I said, because the case is affects the Dikshitars, who are the pujaris and the owners of the Nataraj temple. They have already gone to the High Court in the single judge bench. They have lost in the division bench, meaning two judge hearing. They lost there also, and now they don't want to go to Supreme Court. Supreme Court will say, you busybody, where have you come from? So this is the divinity of Swami Dayanand Saraswati. He said, I am going to pray for you, and you will not only be admitted for hearing, but you will win the case. So I said, well, anyway, if Swami Dayanand Saraswati says I have to do it, I'll come back later and explain to him that, see what I told you. But lo and behold, when I went in court, suddenly I don't know what happened to the judges. They said, oh, Dr. Swamy, yes, of course, you are involved in the Dharmacharya Sabha, etc. And we are going to hear you. Without the pujaris of appearing, I was given the right to argue the case, and the whole case was based on my petition, not on subsequently people sort of impleading themselves in it. What did I say? I said we are a secular country according to the Constitution, and therefore it is no business of the government to run temples. However, if the temple is being mismanaged financially, then the government can come in to set right that financial misappropriation and suggest a methodology by which such things don't happen in the future, or and nothing more, and they cannot take more than 3-4 years to do it, but they cannot become trustees of the temple. So this was the Sabhanayaka judgment of 2014, which is considered classic. It is now quoted everywhere. And so therefore, what happened is that the DMK, after coming to power, violated that by going into areas which are religious and violating what was decided in the Sabhanayaka judgment by the Supreme Court. So I am saying pujaris cannot be appointed by you. You are nobody. That is government. You are nobody as far as religious matters are concerned. And so they were saying, no, we have not done it. We have not dismissed anyway. They were not only appointing, but they were also dismissing some existing Brahmanical. Of course, they have this phobia about Brahmins. Now, we all know that Brahmins are not born. If you become a Jnani, Tyagi and Sahasi, then or Nirbhay, you become a Brahmin. You can be born in anybody's house. Vishwamitra was born in a Brahmin household, but in a Kshatriya household.
Kshatriya, right.
Yeah, and he became a Maharishi. The Veda Vyasa was son of a fisherwoman, and he became a Maharishi. I mean, there are examples and examples. This is all this nonsense. When people tell me I'm a Brahmin, I ask him, where are you working? He says, Bata Shoe Company. I said, this is not the work of a Brahmin. There's no superior Brahmin. Only thing is that Brahmin, because he is a Tyagi, therefore our Hindu society values him more. And they are teachers, so our society values them more. So this anyway, but these fellows have got a phobia about Brahmins. And so they said, no, we'll appoint scheduled caste also. You can appoint scheduled caste if you want, provided they know the subject, if they've been trained, and so on. But the government cannot appoint it. It has to be done by the trustees of the temple. When the temple was built, there were trustees who were there, and then they had a procedure by which it went. Sometimes it went by hereditary, etc. So you can temporarily come into a temple if you can prove in advance a prima facie case of financial mismanagement. You just can't come, okay, we are going to look at your temple finances. No, you can't do that. Now, unfortunately, this is not only the DMK which is doing these stupid things. BJP has done it in Uttarakhand. Out of 54 temples, they have nationalized 51, taken it over. And and then they said the treasury of each of those temples, and Badrinath and Kedarnath had a huge amount of money. So they all will be under the control of the chief minister. So when I have gone to the court, and the circumstances being what they were, the Uttarakhand court, High Court, gave me the most important part of my prayer, namely that the treasury will not go out of the temple. It will remain with the pujaris. But other things, all that, the architecture and painting, all that, everything, washing, cleaning, that the state can look at. I don't understand what's come over some sections of our party, that they're doing exactly what we are not supposed to do. But anyway, so in the question in Tamil Nadu, first problem I want to solve is that as far as pujaris are concerned, or archakas you call them, you have no business. Now, when I got into the picture, Stalin gave a statement, and in the assembly, no pujari has been appointed or dismissed. Which is a lie. So I asked those pujaris who had lost their job, give me through our Madan and Chandralekha, that get me a affidavit. Everybody was scared, so they didn't give. Finally, 3 people agreed to give. So that's all I needed. I even needed not 3, I needed 1, but I got 3. And so we put it all together. We got to court and say, the DMK government is violating Article 25 and 26 in some cases, and in some cases both. And therefore, whatever they have done, it should be struck down, and strict instruction should be given to follow the Savanayakar Nataraj temple versus a case in which it is the case is said Subramanian Swamy versus the state of Tamil Nadu. They have to follow that, and that is what it's. And I'm sure that we are going to win. I would like to add a small thing, and maybe later on if you have time. I have gone to court in Tirupati, in the High Court of Andhra, saying that Tirupati must be made into a private temple. It should not be controlled by government. And I said that this has been in principle agreed in my matter, Savanayakar thing, that government has no business running temples. Only rectification whenever a documented case of mismanagement comes. So I had also a case of government mismanagement. So I proposed to the court that the auditing of the accounts in present and in future should be done by the CAG, because of vast public funds. It's like taxes. You see, CAG looks at taxes. Why? It's because it's public money. Public has given the money. So same way here also, public has given the money. You have not earned it by selling something. So these were my two prayers: free Tirupati, and by the way, Tirupati was taken over by the British government in 1933, merely to get grab the money, and that's been going on. So anyway, so first thing is, and two, I want at least the last 5 years and all years in the future audited by the CAG. To my surprise, the Chief Minister, Jagan, sent me word through the Advocate General that as far as CAG auditing is concerned, if the CAG auditor is concerned, I had, got a consent order now. The government of Jagan came to the court and filed a petition, or rather they filed an application to say that the second prayer we are in consent. And so without even arguing the matter, although I had argued the matter to show how much fraud had taken place during Chandrababu Naidu's time. So, but they said we are not going to contest this. Now, last 5 years and all future auditing will be done. Now, if this is done all over India, because if it's in High Court, so I can tell some other government, listen, High Court is, you better follow it, otherwise I'll go to Supreme Court. Supposing they don't follow, then I'll file it and say in Madras, I'll file in Madras High Court that you have to have an audit of through the CAG. They don't agree, I'll go to Supreme Court quoting the Andhra High Court, and we are going to win that also. So it's a great liberation of temples, which, by the way, no mosque is taken by the government, no church is taken by the government. I know what karma we have are suffering, that the Hindus must have Hindu dominated governments, managing temples, and not even managing temples. It's all mismanagement. So this is what it is, and I am in this matter for some time now, because Ram Mandir I did, and then now I'm doing to Kashi Vishwanath, and then of course I've also gone to. There was once an attempt to gold plate. Crazy ideas came. There was some fellow who used to sell liquor and do all kinds of income tax fraud and all. He was made TTD chairman by I think when it's United, Andhra was there, and so then I went to court. I said, how can he? I mean, who is he? And he was chairman of the TTD, but a thoroughly disreputable character. And I mean, in terms of his background, as a person, he was a nice chap, but not in terms of what he had done. And so he wanted to gold plate it. And who is he? And the walls of the Tirupati, they all have Naivedyam, how is to be prepared, and all that in carvings, so that they're permanent knowledge. And so when I told this man that, listen, you can't do this, you're disfiguring the temple. He said, no, how am I disfiguring? I said, you'll cover up all these things where Naivedyam, etc., all these for prasadams and so on, all these details are carved into the walls. He said, no, I have taken a video of all that and I will put it in a museum. So if you want to see it, you can go to a museum. Then I said, why don't you also take the Archana and all the other things also in video, and nobody needs to go to Tirupati at all. They can go take a video at home and see what the darshan is like. So this is the kind of thing. He said, what is the reverence for our Temples were the center for civilization. And a temple was never only a temple. It was cowsheds, there were Bharatnatyam centers, there were marriage halls. Oh, it was a community area. And people came there and spent the whole day. So liberating temples is a very important thing. And I'm dedicated to that. And I thank you for the opportunity to speak about this.
And thank you very much, Dr. Swamy. And we conclude this session at this point. We wanted to talk about the temples and what has been happening. And this is a very critical phase in the history of India, because finally the silent majority is beginning to find its voice. And I hope that this improves, and that the Hindus learn to know how to take care of our temples, our culture. We also heard about all the artifacts coming back with Mr. Modi. Those things would actually have to be, the shilas have to be pratishtad in different temples. That's going to be a huge news item when that thing happens. So we'll keep you posted. Dr. Swamy, thank you once again, sir. We requested you at a very, very short notice to help us unravel this for our viewers, and you did. And namaskar.
Okay.